In this presentation, we are going to explain the midpoint and mostly focus on our retrospective and web application framework. Now we will move on the next slide where we start our more concepts. So first of all, the peer review. So for the peer review, feedback can adjust the project grade, and most students receive the meeting expectations. Like you meet the expectations and inherit the team grade, and then for the grading, the standard contribution, minor grade boost. Then the meeting team expectation inherit the project grade, and the room for the improvement and minor penalty consent effectively to it. Then we move on the retrospective. So why the retrospective? What are the purpose? After every project major deliverable such as the reports or presentations, hold a retrospective to evaluate the team performance, identify the areas for improvement. And here is a structure. Appoint a facilitator and set an agenda. Then we need to focus on the actions and outcomes, not blame. Then stay calm and professional. The team improvement is the goal. Now the some important practical tips, which is the use the sticky notes for the brainstorming ideas. Set timer to keep the discussion concise and precise, productive. Now we will move on the next slide, which is all about the outline of the retrospective. So how are you feel about the project? What are the start with the quick pulse check to get the overall sentiment. Then we will see the reflection. It can be individual reflection, what went well and what could be improved. Highlight the successes, challenges, identify all the challenges and suggest the improvement. Now we will go on the share and organize. Discuss the group ideas to prioritize the issues and share with the organization. Then brainstorm solution, collaborate, think of the way to address the challenges, and then decide the actions, and with a clear actionable plan for the improvement. The addressing shortcomings. For the addressing shortcomings, we have the different options. Let's discuss how the different constructive feedback in the retrospective. First of all, this is a good example, specific the have a scenario, which in this we will discuss how and address an individual shortcomings. So we will see here, this is a good example, specific, clear and professional. Option B, it is about avoid its dismissive, unhelpful. Mix the feedback, acknowledge positive but address issues constructively, and doing nothing isn't option. Problem rarely themselves. Balance the feedback of them. And option B, unconstructive criticism. Then we'll move on the web application framework. In this we will see introduction of the first of all the Django. What are the Django? A framework, popular framework for building the web application. Then architecture tiers like Django separates the concern into the three-tier model, view and controller and templates. Then mapping these things like view in the Django is equal to controller and template in the Django view the traditional MVC. Mapping terms like view in the Django is equal to controller, and templates in the Django view controller, view in the traditional MVC model view controller model, which is used in mostly the architecture. Now we will go on the object and the relational databases. What is the objects represent the data behavior in the graph structure, and the spot inherit the polymorphism, spot inheritance and polymorphism. And relational database store the structured data in the row and columns. And impedance mismatch, like there is a fundamental difference between how data is modeled in the object oriented and relational database. The ORM bridge this gap. Now here is some more detail and concept of the web framework like Django. For the Django CRUD operation, create, read, update and delete, these are the core operations of managing in Django. Then here is the Django view most come in a Django view like roots, URL. Map the URL to specify the view of the functions. For example, a map like articles int year directs a request to a specific function for the handling. And then the templates, which is in the traditional MVC like model view controller, will define how the content is displayed to the user. And as